Hi, Scott here. Hope you're well. We had some big market moves yesterday. A bit of a flat day until then. It seemed that people were kind of avoiding the markets because of the waiting to see what happened with the inflation figures for the US. And when those figures hit, the markets did go a bit crazy for some, or for most currencies actually. So hopefully you managed to avoid that. That has messed up the structure of the markets a bit. So it's not looking that great today. And we've also got the Asia markets opening very, very soon. And the UK and European markets will open as well. And they will probably react to the CPI inflation figures from the US from yesterday. So that could cause some more volatility. So please be aware of that. There's a few things we can look at though. Actually, there's quite a lot, but not that much I'm really excited about. But we'll have a go at it and see what we can see. It's always good just to reflect on what we're seeing in the markets, even if it's only for practice, if nothing else. Right, usual. We'll start with higher time frames. The daily. This is Aussie Swiss. Big downtrend. Seems to be bouncing off this level here. And update yesterday. And it's looking like it's going to be an update today. My DVP for this pair will be long. So the important thing is a lower time frame because of this news yesterday. And this one wasn't too bad, Aussie Swiss. It did dip down, didn't actually break these lows, maybe just, but so the structure is not too messed up. But it doesn't look very pretty, does it? But if you do a fib from the lows to the highs, it lines up reasonably well with the 1 hour 50. If it does start pulling back, it's looking like it's still pretty bullish at the moment. And if that comes back in the next few hours, that could give us an IBOC. The pivot here you'll see lines up with the 382 of our fib. And they'll give us an IBOC. It's an IBO, initial breakout, because we've broken the 1 hour 50. But it's a C because the 4 hour 50 has already been reached. So if it does pull back, give us an entry, then we'll be trading through the 4 hour 50. We do get 1-to-1 up to the 4 hour 50, so that's good. And then we can be trading this up to the day 20. That's not what I wanted to move. I've got the wrong one there. This one here, that's what I want to move. So that could give us some good potential there if it does pull back and the markets get some structure today. Aussie yen. We go to the daily, similar kind of thing, a big bounce and a low test yesterday, bullish action, so looking like it's a long today. On the lower time frames, so this one did break the structure quite a lot, break to new lows. So if you use the fibs from these lows, it's not going to work. So what I've done here is I've kind of ignored this as a news event, which is what it was. And if you did the fibs from these lows here, and it does pull up to about here, so I may even pull back. It did pull back soon, we get an IBOC. No, it wouldn't. We would have had the IBO. That was messed up by this news. So the best thing to do here is wait for a CBO. So depending on how it trends up, when it pulls back, we have a few options with the fib. We could put the fib maybe back here. This is the run that broke the 1 hour 50 cleanly. That's the 4 hour 50. And that one lines up pretty well with the 4 hour 50. And then we can take that long up to the day 20. So the stop goes behind the 618 of our fib, this green line. There's a pivot here as well, which is good to have that to protect our stop. And that's pretty much it. So here we're waiting for the pull up to about here somewhere, and then pull back in a number of hours and then up to up to our take profit. That's what it would kind of look like. Something like that. That can take, what, 4 or 5 candles, so that could be late today, or maybe Monday morning. All right, Aussie USD, let's go through that one. Again, we've got this level being respected. The doji the day before yesterday, and great deceleration, so it looked like it was going to reverse anyway. Yesterday it did reverse. We had that long wicked candle, which was this news here, so although it was the US inflation, it did affect a lot of other currencies. We just saw Euro, Aussie yen was also affected, the last one we looked at. So again, I'm going to cheat with the fib and ignore this news event, just go from the lows, the old lows, and then up to the highs here. Lines up quite well, the 1 hour 50 and 382, so it does pull back here sometime in the future, then that could be a nice long trade. Stop behind the 75 because it's IBO, and take profit 4 hour 50, or if you're more aggressive, you can take that a bit further. So that's a good possibility for very soon, actually, next few hours. KGN. KGN on the daily, we had a big low test, as we did with many pairs yesterday, because of the news, and it's quite a bullish candle. It's a very bullish candle. It's tested the daily 50, daily 20, both of those, and finished strongly above it, so that's looking very bullish. And we've got some big movements here. It's a bit exaggerated. Okay, so still a very, very strong move down and a quick reaction back up. We can actually use this candle perhaps this time, but that's pretty close to the old lows, either or. 382 lines up with the pivot. Stop. Sorry, the top of the fib will be these highs here. If it does pull back to the 382, 1 hour 50 is pretty close. The 4 hour 50 is our blue line, and that will be before the 618, so that's the CBO. Although we did have a CBO here as well, so it's a bit messy. Our second CBO, and stop behind the 618. So that's got a few things looking good if it pulls back in the next, or later today sometime. Euro pound. So the pound had a lot of strength yesterday. There's no actual news that I'm aware of, but anyway, got a lot of strength. So the pound against the euro, pound strength gave it that very bearish day on the euro pound pair. So it's looking like a bearish day today, working through the daily 50 and the daily 20 quite cleanly. And over here on the 1 hour chart, we have downtrend. Let's just make it a bit more reasonable. We have this strong downtrend, a pullback, almost touched the daily 50 and the 4 hour, sorry, the 1 hour 50 and the 4 hour 50. And if you had that, would have been a nice entry, but we are trading into the daily 50, which wouldn't have been quite so good. But we didn't get an entry anyway. And then it's broken through the daily 50, which is this green line. And now hopefully it's going to pull back. Looks like it is going to pull back. But it's euro pound, so that won't happen for another 6 hours or so. There's plenty of time to pull back to the 382. And 1 hour 50 can catch up. So this will be an ACBB because it's a continuation breakout, mainly because we've had a re-break of the 4 hour 50. And the 4 hour 50 is behind the 1 hour 50 as it breaks through. So it breaks through, the 4 hour 50 is behind. So we're not trading into the 4 hour 50, we are continuing with the trend, which is basically down. And it's an ACBB because it's like an IBO, but we have the 4 hour 50 behind us, which is the blue line. So as it retests the 382 or the daily pivot, that could be a nice short trade. Where's my fib from? Okay, I took the fib from this little peak here. Maybe that's not the best, particularly from the highs. That's another option, which means you have to break through the daily 50 briefly, which you can do, and then pull back to here. But this is euro pound, so well, maybe, and then the stop will have to go right back here, and then take profit down here somewhere. So it looks a bit messy. We need to see how that pans out in the next 6 to 8 hours, whether it pulls back to the pivot and rejects it, or whether it pulls back a bit further to this 382, which is from the fib of the whole move from top to bottom. So we'll see how that pans out in the next few hours. And you see, I'm not too excited about these because the market movements have been a bit unusual. Euro USD, we saw this deceleration and these doji candles day before yesterday and the previous day, and the bullish day yesterday, which is what it was looking like anyway. It's looking like it was a quick reversal. So on the 1 hour chart, again, we'll skip these news event lows and do the fib from the low, previous low here, take it up to the highs. It's just rejected the daily 50, which is daily 20, which is this red line here, and it's putting it back to the 4 hour 50. So if it pulls back to the 4 hour 50 and the 382, if it waits a bit for this 1 hour 50 to catch up, that'd be nicer. Otherwise, it might be pulling back to the 1 hour 50 itself, which carries will this fib work if we do that? Do the fib from the bottom. Yeah, that could actually work. It did pull back soon. It'll break the 4 hour 50. This will now be an IBO. Pull back to the 1 hour 50. And this entry on the 382. The stop will go behind 75. It lines up very well with the pivot, the daily pivot. And if that was to happen, then we could would be an IBOC. Is it an IBO? I guess you can count it as an IBO after this break, way below the 1 hour 50 when the re-break up here. And then that'll be an IBOC if you're trading through the 4 hour 50 and up to the day 20, which is only 1 to 1, or you can take it further, take it higher. So we'll see what happens with that one. Pound CAD. So bullish day yesterday, and broken cleanly through the daily 50. So it's a nice clean break. Looking for an update today. We have what's looking the best here is the daily pivot. A pip snatcher, quick 1 to 1 pip snatcher, but it does the 1 hour 50 still way behind. Maybe in another 6 to 8 hours, the 1 hour 50 will be catching up. It'll just do a quick retest. And there's this trend line here I can see. 1 hour 50 is following that pretty closely. So if 1 hour 50 keeps trending up, this comes down here in a few hours, just wicks it, gives an entry, it could be a quick 1 to 1. What do the fibs give us? The fib from there, just below the pivot, and obviously the one the fib from the bottom of the lows down here. The 382 is way below the pivot. So it's not looking that great either. Because of the strength of the pound yesterday, causes large run, being decisive. But although decisive, it's a bit hard to read how far it's going to pull back. Pound Swiss, very similar kind of thing. Got a very bullish day yesterday, breaking the daily 50 on the 1 hour chart. Massive run up, similar kind of thing. Maybe it's going to be a pivot today. The 1 hour 50 is a long way to catch up. The daily 50 is, this green line is before I stop, which is nice. And that could be a quick 1 to 1. And yen. Again, massive pound strength. And also yen weakness, which made this an even more bullish looking candle. Up to these highs, so maybe some caution required here. Maybe with this, oops, Maybe now looking about there. That's a pretty strong trend line, is it? Well, it's for these highs here anyway. Maybe it's, no. There's something there anyway. So, but we've still got a lot of bullish strength from yesterday. So if we do get a pullback, that could be a quick one-to-one pip snatcher. Do we have anything in the way of a CBO? Let's do a quick fib. We'll go from the top. So CBO, because this broke the 450 started down here, went from the bottom to the top. Pull back within, not that better with the 1 hour 50, but we need to break through the daily pivot. And the 4 hour 50 is a little bit behind. So is this a CBO? If the 4 hour 50 catches up and gets before the 618 of the fib, if it does pull up to about here somewhere, then that'll be classed as a CBO. And we'd then be looking at entry 382, 1 hour 50 is catching up nicely. And the stop behind 618 and behind the 4 hour 50 if it catches up. So again, it doesn't look that clear, that perfect. You probably take it up to the R1 of the daily pivots, the good resistance level. So that's a possibility. See what happens there. And Kiwi. Bullish candle yesterday, but a bit of a high test. So nice pullback yesterday. That could be pulling back for a quick pip snatcher. Or again, like the last one we looked at, possibility of a CBO. No, probably not. I think it's too. We did it from the lows to the highs. Oh yeah, that'd be good. It almost lines up, doesn't it? Very similar kind of level as the pivot. The 1 hour 50 is quite a way behind still, so it's got to catch up. And dollar. Again, strength yesterday, bit of room to the daily 50. On the 1 hour chart, we've got, need a pullback to, I've got a fib in here from the lows to the highs. 382 is a pivot, below the pivot, 382. 1 hour 50 catching up, the 4 hour 50 is clearly before the 618, so that's a much nicer looking CBO. The daily 20 is here as well, which is a nice little thing to have before I stop. Entry here, trade up to daily 50. That's one of the better looking, normal looking chart patterns. I like that one much. That's probably one of my best favorite ones there. Kiwi Swiss. British action yesterday after bouncing off the slow pullback. Didn't pull back with great deceleration and a couple of bullish days. So we've got a bit of bullish action happening here. Bit of pullback to, if it slows down, the 382 lines up with the daily pivot. This is from the low of this run, which is the news, which actually is the low of the whole run anyway. The whole lows, that's good. An entry, if it does pull back to here, give us an entry. We could trade that up to maybe these highs here. Would be a reasonable target. And use trade management accordingly to capture those profits. Go there. That's good potential as well. That was quite nice looking. Often this nasty looking price action here. That's a good one. Kiwi Swiss. Oh, sorry, Kiwi Yen. And Kiwi Yen. Bullish action into the daily 20-50 zone. Room to the daily 50, so there's still some room for some more upside today. On the hourly chart, a bit messy. This one, the actual fibs do line up with this news event, or we could just ignore that and use the lows here, which is not too different. 382 lines up very well with the daily pivot. The 1 hour 50 just catching up. The 4 hour 50 is just below it, but near the 0.5 fib. So that's a great looking CBO if we ignore this news event. So break and retest of the 1 hour 50 here for an IBO, and then breaking the 4 hour 50, and up here pulling back my CBO. Again, not perfect because nothing's looking very pretty today, but yeah, that's quite a nice looking trade as well. And these highs before the daily 50 and also before these previous highs here. So that's quite a nice looking one as well. There's a few, there are a few ones worth watching. Let's see if we get a nice bit of structure in the market today. So the last one we've got here is dollar CAD, which was looking like it's storming this level. Had a massive high test yesterday, and then finishing as a bearish candle. So we're looking for some downside today. So again, we've got a few options. We'll have to ignore this price action of the news because that's not going to work for our fibs. But if we take these old highs here, start our fib from there, down to the lows, and pulling back. Looks like we're going to pull back to the 1 hour 50. Dollar CAD, so that probably won't happen for another 5, 6, 7 hours. If it does, well, the 382 is here, so it's not lining up that well. In a few hours' time, the 1 hour 50 will be here. You have to break through the 382 to the 1 hour 50, give us an entry, and then we can trade it down to this red line, which is the daily 20. So that could be a nice little trade, or we might find it breaks lower and gives us a nice CBO a bit later, maybe late today or Monday. So keep an eye on that one. So that's all the ones which are setting up right now. Let's flick through the ones which may set up soon. Aussie CAD, stalling at this level, waiting for some confirmation of some upside. Yesterday, didn't cleanly break the 1 hour, it did break the 1 hour 50, but didn't give us a nice setup. News brought it back down below. Now it's recovering. So this could well set up to a nice little IBO. We get back up to about here somewhere. Then that'll give us nice fibs from this low. It doesn't go quite that high. We need to break these highs anyway. So ideally it'll come up to about here somewhere. Use this low here with the fibs. 382 lines up very well. Good entry. That could be a nice one. Aussie Kiwi. Decelerating, and now it's kind of expecting it's going to turn around here. If we did draw a line here, we've got the highs here, high here, highs here. That's definitely a level. Seems to be stalling at that level. Still getting lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We'll do a look at the MACD as this is drifting lower. This is going much higher. So that looks like it's about to reverse. Do we have any trend lines here? Not great ones, maybe. But it looks like it's in reverse, so we'll wait for it to break above the 1 hour 50. And breaks for the 1 hour 50, we could get a break retest. So that's on 4 hour 50. So that's one to look for later on. Euro Kiwi. Still at this level. High test yesterday. Let's look for some confirmation that we've got a downtrend intact. We've got not that clear, is it? Wait for a nice break below these lows here, below the 4-hour 50, to give us a CBO. Breaks down here somewhere, up to the 4-hour 50 and 1-hour 50, straight down to the day 20 or beyond. So that could be a nice little trade for later on. Kiwi dollar. Still at this level, low test yesterday, bullish candles, looking for an up. A long day sometime, and we've had a break of the 1-hour 50, not clean at all. Like I said yesterday, was a bit of a, people not really interested in the markets too much. Hopefully that's cleared now, so now we're ready for a break above the 4-hour 50. Here somewhere, come back down and give us a long trade. So it'll be a few hours away while the CBO sets up. Late today, maybe Monday. Oops, ahead of myself. Dollar Swiss. Again, stalling at this level. Is it going to go down? We need some confirmation. And yes, so we've got a trend line here. Maybe not. Pretty great one. So this 1-hour 50 is holding at the moment. So we want a clean break of the 1-hour 50, pull back, and then trade down to the 4-hour 50 or beyond. So that might happen later today. Dollar yen. Also want to look at. This one has been in an uptrend forever, it seems. Waiting for it to. We don't want to trade it long because it's so overextended. RSI, yes, back to overextended again, overbought. So we want to trade that long. We need some confirmation that we've got a reversal. So if we get a break of the 1-hour 50, that'll be good. But be aware of this trend line here. Test there, test there, test there. I wouldn't personally want to trade through that trend line. Seems to be reasonably strong. There's three tests already. Probably find it will pull down to the trend line and stall, pull back. But you want to see a clear break. I would want to see a clear break of that trend line and then retest perhaps where the trend line is. And that could give a nice confirmation of the trade short. I have to wait for that one. Okay, is that video going to work today? Did I struggle my computer? No, it's not going to work. Okay. Okay, so there we go. There's a big list of stuff there. Nothing. There's a few which look okay, and there's a few that may set up soon. Just be aware of the price action today. If it looks like nobody's really interested and people are waiting for, or even reacting to the news from last night when in the Asia session and the UK Open. Asia session is opening in just another minute or so. I'm actually, maybe it's been open for an hour. Yeah, the clock's changed. So Asia session's just open. So we wait for the reaction of the UK. Just be careful of that. Apart from that, good luck in the markets. Have a great weekend. Try and snag a fun coupon Friday and get out before the weekend, just in case we have some strange action over the weekend and a gap on the open on Monday. All the best. I will speak to you next week. Take care.